Right, evening everybody. It's Bright on the beat here. You'll have to forgive the Star Wars sounds in the background. My lad's playing Star Wars on his VR headset. I've had some feedback and it's been suggested that I start a completely new patrol with like a tutorial. So that's what I'm going to try today. I've got this on simulation mode. I've got it on no tutorial option, and we're starting right from the beginning so that anybody who's new to the game can get an idea of what you need to do in order to progress through the game. So here we are, Frank Miller, no stars out of 30, starting at North Point, foot patrol. Start with a 25-minute patrol and see how we get on. So I need to check my settings because I did have CP detection disabled. Yeah, okay. So I'll enable that and go straight into, so we won't change uniform or anything like that, we'll just go straight out as we are. We should start off with a bit of an input from our sergeant here.
It's your first day on the job, and your first shift is to issue parking tickets, so be on the lookout for vehicles violating parking regulations. Be on your guard and show presence when you encounter other violations. Always remember to have reasonable suspicion before you detain someone and a probable cause with sufficient evidence before making an arrest. Now, some days are better than the others, and remember, every day is different. Good luck.
Thank you, officer. I'll keep that in mind.
So if you're not aware, when you first start this game off, there is no option for police vehicles unless you have purchased the DLC. So you can use the little smart car like is depicted here, and it gets you around a little bit quick enough to walk everywhere. They also disabled when this first game came out, you could put the hat on and off, but if you want to wear a hat when you're walking around, you have to put that hat on from the locker room. Can't wander around and turn it on and off while you're walking about. So if we are going to do a proper foot patrol, really we should have headgear on. Let's have a look. There we go. Once it's on, you can't take it off. It's on. There were some of the upgrades, they did change the opportunity, or they have the opportunity to change uniforms. Go into the boot of some of these cars, you can change uniform from the boot of the car. You can set that up so that you can have a high-vis vest or something like that when you get out. If you wanted to, you could change it so that comes on and off depending on how you want to do it. There we go, yeah, custom uniforms, things like that. We're not going to do anything like that, I'm just going to leave it as is. We're going to go for a foot patrol, and as you walk around you start to discover certain locations. They added the barriers a while back as well. You can open those by hand by pressing the button here if you wanted to, but you can also walk around the gates on foot. Street signs up there tell you roughly where you are. And then you've got locations like Holmart and things like that that you can explore and discover as you're going around. I'm going to get hit in the face in a minute by my lad who's swinging round. Take a step over to your right, please, because you're going to bash me. Swung round, nearly hit me. Bring up your map, your general tools available at this stage. Yeah, your speed radar gun and things like that aren't available yet, you haven't unlocked, so you need more duty stars to do that. Taser is available. There we go, we've discovered a new point of interest, Zero. So now if somebody asks you for directions and you bring up the map, Zero would be visible on the map when somebody asks you for directions. What you might have to do is go into the options menu and make sure that places of interest are shown, names of points of interest are on. There we go. Otherwise you've got a...
Hi there.
There we go. So somebody greets you, greet back, and you get an additional set of points in the top corner there. You can talk to people, you can speak to people as much as you like, but unfortunately if you ask them for ID without probable cause, you ID them, you'll lose some. You'll get a CP deduction there. You haven't got the option to stop vehicles yet because you haven't got the pullover sign. Other than stepping into the road and using the hand gestures to stop a vehicle, you can do that, but you won't generally be able to interact with the vehicle. Another point of interest coming up here. There's a few Blackbird theatres knocking around. again, if somebody asks for directions to that, you'll get points by giving them directions. But the key interest here, the sergeant asked you at the beginning here to keep an eye out for, there we go, Blackgate Theatre, for parking violations. And a lot of the parking violations can be found. You can see one here now. There's directions of travel for cars. Obviously, these cars are travelling on the right. The cars will be travelling on the left. So one of these vehicles here, the red van or the grey 4x4, is parked in the wrong direction. And you can obviously see there because it's parked on the right-hand side of the street. But it's facing to the other side there. It's parked facing the wrong side of traffic. So he's already committed a violation. Have a quick look at the parking meter there, which is valid. You can see that he hasn't committed a parking violation from that respect, but he is parked facing against traffic, which is a violation. Do a quick check, see what the vehicles of interest. Got an expired ID, but he's not with us, so we can't do much about that. But we can ticket it for park facing the wrong direction. Parking ticket, wrong direction. There we go, nice simple ticket. Fingers crossed. There we go, we see an immediate 20 points there for issuing a ticket for that vehicle. And that's it pretty much. Can have a wander down here, see whether or not this red van's parking ticket has expired. No, he's still got time on that. And the best value is a point of interest as well, so we work our way around there, we should get a point of interest activation for that. Look at this parking sign here, what we got? Tow zone taxi stand, well obviously that is a taxi, so he's quite legally parked there. Monday, so that's not relevant. And we've also got a tow zone taxi stand here, so in addition to marked taxis, which you can see over there, you also get these taxis which are part of Brighton's taxi system with shift. If they've got a shift sticker, they're also a taxi, so again he's not in any violation of any parking restrictions because he's an unmarked taxi. The shift always starts, or the duties always start in 2022, which is when the game first came out. It doesn't align with the current date and time, so you can see the date and time top left of the screen there. Yeah, no parking Wednesday. Well, again, it's Monday, so we have no worries about that. This is a one-way street, so all vehicles should be travelling in the direction all these cars are facing, so they're not committing any offences there. We'll have a quick look at their parking meters. You can see the yellow marker there because we've just started our career. You can't go beyond those yellow markers, beyond the red markers, beyond those, otherwise you get fined. Here we go, another parking violation here. This one's expired. So this vehicle's got an expired parking ticket or parking meter. Check him. The driver's got an open warrant, the owner's got an open warrant, but we can't do anything about that at the moment because the person isn't present. We can issue a ticket to the vehicle. I believe, test this in a moment. Parking ticket for expired parking meter. Now we will test this one out and see how we go, but I believe you can seize vehicles or have vehicles towed where the owner's got a an open warrant. We'll just do a quick check on that, see if we can verify that on our guide here. I haven't used the guide for yonks. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Defence, penalties, traffic violations per the player, parking regulations. Here we go. Positional alignment, special parking zone, hints, which are for shift cars. Okay, well let's give it a go and see if we lose points for recovering the vehicle where it's
I have a vehicle that needs towing. Can you send a tow truck to my current location,
we didn't lose
please?
Points there, so if my reasoning is correct, it's because the owner's got an open warrant and you can recover the vehicle. The idea probably being that if they turn up to collect their vehicle, they then get arrested. Here comes our tow truck, and that vehicle should get taken away. Now, this one here is also in violation of parking regulations. It's parked on the correct side of the street. The parking meter is in date, but it is a considerable way out in the street. And I believe it's something like a tyre's width out into the street that makes it a parking violation. Let's have a quick look. Traffic violations, here we go. Yeah. Oh, parking regulations, I've still got that one. Common parking tickets, parking meter by a fire hydrant, no parking area. On sidewalk, too far on the street. Any vehicle with at least one tyre too far away from the curb is considered too far into the street. Okay, doesn't really give you too much information about that then. I was pretty sure that it's a tyre's width further out. But that one's clearly too far into the street, so we'll give them a ticket and we shouldn't lose any points for that. Too far in the street, there we go. I would certainly argue in this case, if you can stand your whole body in the space between the car and the pavement, it's too far into the street. The other violations, you can have too close to the crosswalk, so if they're parked literally in this space here where the crosswalk is, that would certainly be too far into the street. We can't go any further because we're going to go into our yellow area there. So we're just going to carefully cross the street, because if we cross the street at the wrong point, you get violations for crossing at the wrong point, even as a police officer, which is why I turn a lot of the player deductions off when I play this for real. Here we go, another one, clearly too far into the street here. Get him, see if there's any information on that vehicle. Nope. He's clearly too far into the street. There we go. Now clearly we've got a problem here because we've got a van facing one way, a car facing the other, car facing another way. So clearly it's that grey car there that's parked facing the wrong direction. Oh. See if we can do this without getting any deductions. Or by being run over by cars, like that one there. Let's have a look. Quick look at the... I try not to run too much in this because it's not very realistic, but unless we absolutely have to. So this one here is just check the parking regulations here. No parking on a Wednesday. Let's have a look at this vehicle's registration tag. Can't see. 9 Zulu Golf 246. Let's have a look at that. Registration is invalid. Now we can't see it from this angle. Let's have a look around the back here. So what are we in? November 7th, 2022, and you can see there it's July 2021, so he's got an expired license plate as well as being parked in the wrong direction. So we can ticket him for both those matters. Let's have a look. Wrong direction. And an expired license plate, and what we definitely can do, we shouldn't lose points for this, is a vehicle with an expired tag, an expired license plate.
Can you send a tow truck to my current location? I have a vehicle here that needs towing.
The wrecker will be there in a couple of minutes.
This one here, when you get a bit further on in the game, you can see he's got tinted windows. You can't have tinted windows in Brighton. That's also an offence, but we've got no driver with that, so we'll deal with that today. We'll loop round and go the other way. Probably about halfway through our shift here. You find the longer shift you do when walking, it takes a long old time to get around the area, so if you're walking you probably want to keep your shifts as short as possible. He's got a cracked windscreen on that one, but we can't do anything about it. I've turned off the alerts that tell you what vehicles are doing wrong, because again I prefer the realism of spotting those offences yourself. We didn't get a marker for exploring or discovering best value, so we'll just wander around and pick that up if we can. We should get a little notification saying we've discovered a new point of interest. And I suppose when you're starting out to get used to the game, best value, there we go. Best practice would be to try and get those all those points picked up on, so that as you progress to different areas you know all the locations. And there is the option we can go up the street there and cross over through an alleyway. That might bring us out on the other side there. Ah, no we can't, because that's the wrong side of the road.
Hey there.
Bring that person back.